Sure. The energy is quite extravagant, is the word that comes up right now for me. It is showing off in the most, like, you have to really seek to find right now. This information is not just, it's not just for anyone to receive, first and foremost. Whatever we receive from God, when you're receiving joy and peace and the purpose of why fear exists and low vibration exists, it's like you really have to ask, and then ask, you shall receive, and seek, and you'll find, knock, and the door will be open to you. And when you're seeking and you're finding all of this good stuff, remember everything is on a sliding scale. Fear at the bottom, love, I mean, fear at the bottom, and peace and joy at the top as the highest hue that gets emitted. Remember, we are designated as human being. The E was taken off for whatever reason, but HUEMAN, human, because we are light beings. We are emitting light. So observe the light that you feel. The density or darkness that you'll feel are those emotions in your body, like tensing. So when you are with someone, or a truth that you've been hiding is starting to be uncovered, you start to feel tension, right? Because that water is not flowing. There's no wall trying to stop that natural flow of water. So with this extravagant energy in the spheres, you have to show that you're willing to participate in receiving, because to get this much magic, it's already existing. It's here, right? But if you don't train yourself to have that lens, and you're only going to see what you see from low ground, and it's not embodied, then you can't be given more. And actually you will be given more, because it's going to be given from a space of, remember the other day I said that the universe doesn't speak in any verbal language, but it speaks in sound and tone and vibration. So the intensity of the tension and ease is very, very important right now. So in the next 6 to 8 weeks, major transformations are are happening. Like major transformations are happening, and it's going to happen so fast. So we're coming into a period where something is going to happen so fast. It's almost like if a gate is closed, you can't pour into or through pour into and pour through. Let me see. Pour into and pour through. Yeah, pour into and pour through. You'll take it for what it resonates. Okay. So there's a valve opening up right now, and it's going to be so strong over the next 8 weeks. It's going to be so intensely powerful over the next 8 weeks that I hope you are the quickest way to avoid the resistance of this push is to keep telling the truth. Just as much as you can. Just keep telling the truth no matter what. And also allow yourself space too. Okay. Time is very fluid. So the 4 words that came up are, and the 2 words are very similar. So, but also yet different: restoration, resource, famine, and replenish. okay, and replenish. So what I wanted to share was a couple of years ago in Cape Town. Some of you might be Cape Townians and you would remember the experience, maybe not the intensity of it, but you do remember. We had a water crisis where the dams were drying out. Okay. So water is a very important resource. We can't live without water. There's no way. Um we need some form of hydration. And of course the body's also stored some parts of it anyway. So when there's no more water, there's a drying out of resource and life within. Because if you think the breath is like the wind, high tide, low tide, that sort of flow, right? So breath, life, water, it all goes together. Anyways, we saw major truths also being uncovered. You know, if you live in Cape Town, there's such a high high and such low low, and it's the gap between the highs, the rich and the poor is just increasing ever so much. So it's also part of a necessary replenishment of the city. And we go back to the story of the water. What we saw with the truth there was how, because we had water like rationing, or water, what did I write? Water like shedding, almost like electricity, load shedding, that's the word. So we had like water shedding, and you could see with the different areas that you would read about up on the news and you would hear from different people of certain areas were almost, I don't know who necessarily determined which areas needed more water versus which areas didn't need a block of water versus which areas only needed so much water. So the I guess obviously it's part of government, the rationing of the water. It gets to be decided according to a classist sort of like way. So you could see the gaps starting to open up. Then it goes into this part of this message with the restoration. Nature is always going to give back to itself, but we as humans have to participate as well. So the question always goes, how are we participating in a way that replenishes and doesn't strip completely off nature? And what I got to from that story too was, we were sent out through municipality and government over the news that everybody needed to play their part. Like, please use the water um, a lot more sparingly, use it more wisely, so that for whatever we haven't considered with the dehydration of the water source, basically, or the resource, that everybody plays a part in being able to at least keep a base minimum so that we can keep the city alive, basically. And we were almost basically going through a period of famine. So we take that in what happened outside and we go inside and we go, is there a period of famine, or what happens in the period of famine within you? Who is and what is your resource system and base and support? Okay. And who are the people who are willing to shift their habits in order to keep this dam flowing, for lack of a better word? Who are the people in your life who are allowing you and supporting you to keep your resource going? And where are you rationing your water accordingly? Who have you determined deserves more water or more of this life force from you? And who's also willing to on a mutually beneficial way, restore and put back into you. Okay, so it goes back into that. And you basically notice through a famine. Famine is like a dry spell or a dry period of your life where it's almost like what nature has been resourcing you with, there has been a misabuse or a misunderstanding of how to use it to its full benefit, so that whatever is coming in, how do I put this? Whatever is coming in, whatever is being restored, and whatever is coming out, there's harmony within that flow state. So whatever's coming in, whatever's coming out, whatever remains. So then we go into in, out, and embodiment, and we speak through that with breath. So this is interesting that it's going here now. It's not what I thought. Okay. So when we look at breath, breath is life. Water is also life. It's part of our resource that sustains us as human beings. And you can see it through like I don't know, I'm going into the science equation of water. Well, not equation, or what's the, like a symbol? I forgot the word, but H2O. Okay. So water always has a mixture, combination of something. So it's not just one thing. Hence, when we talk about breath or we talk about life, we can look at it almost from a sense of water moves into three different phases: solid, liquid, and gas. And you either need a deep cooling system to freeze. So you need like pressure to freeze to condense and contract the water, or you need pressure and fire through heat to let it vaporize and to liquefy again. So it's the same thing with our bodies and breath. When you are breathing in, you are absorbing. When you are breathing out, you are also at the same time freezing, embodying, and water vapor is releasing. So liquid, solid, gas, water vapor. So within this resource, breath and water, which is life for you, within your water crisis or your famine, who is restoring, or how are you restoring yourself, and who is helping you restore? Because even if someone's not necessarily putting their healing hands on you, restoration is about being in agreement within that relationship that says, I am willing to participate in this way, and you agree that you are willing to participate in this way. And within that relationship, within our agreement currently, we must also leave room for change, for the adaptability of who we are becoming, to open up that space of, I'm not feeling restored right now. What is it that needs to be restored in you? What can I support you with? Where do I have the capacity to be able to? Okay, and then resource. What is resourcing? Who's resourcing you? Who are you stripping from? Right? Because at the end of the day, we're always going to be taking, but it has to be an agreement. Because if you are taking without replenishing, that famine is going to last way longer than it actually needed to, right? So right now, if you are experiencing a certain famine where what used to be isn't anymore, and you're almost like your water source is drying out, it's a time now for you to look at the people, places, and things in your life that are allowing you to restore, allowing you to maintain presence within the resource, and to maintain as much resource and add to the resource through your famine as it dries up, and then helps you replenish. So it's being in agreement within these relationships and understanding that I'm here in your life. This is what I want. And it's almost like a bartering system. I'm here in your life. This is what I want. You're here in my life. This is what you want. So you come knowing what you want and you don't manipulate one another for what you want. When you're in the wounds, we're in deep manipulation from the lower state, because everything is always manipulation, anyways. But if it's coming from low vibration, that's fear, and it's not an agreement. But if it is in love and peace, be in agreement. Okay, because ultimately, as I was listening to myself say that, we are always in agreement. But your wounds will pull you into the agreement of low vibration. Okay. And then I don't know how, maybe I can just unpack this a little bit, but I wrote down through when I was meditating that natural resource is sustained through this equation. So it's abundance plus human limitation equals available abundance or available limitation, depending on the lens that you're looking at. Remember, I said love is on a sliding scale. It goes from fear as the lowest vibration towards love and towards peace and joy, which is the highest vibration. Yeah, I think I've said a lot from today already. Um, Restoration has a lot to do with peace. Are the people around you giving you peace? Are you giving yourself peace when you are around you? Because that's important. Because if you start feeling like there's a gap, that means you are running away from the work that you need to do, and you're trying to let other people, you're trying to strip from other people in relationship by allowing them to take, by allowing yourself to take their light. Or if you enjoy giving, allowing that little light you have left be taken. So peace, restoration, rest, joy, resource, where you're getting it from. Are you constantly able to resource yourself often in your famine period? Who's there? Who's willing to be able to adapt their life to, for in order to also support you, because it's an exchange, right? And how are you doing it? Because that's relationship. And then replenishing. Are you in relationships that are only stripping away, or are they mutually beneficial? And then the abundance equation is abundance plus human limitation equals available abundance, or depending on the lens that you're looking through, limited. Did I write here? Human limitation. Okay. If you want to unpack this a little bit more personally, and you understand that there's certain relationships in your life that need changing, and you can't quite put your finger on it, but you can tell that you are not being restored fully, or the type of agreements you need to have that are clearer from yourself, because you can't ask for what you don't know, right? Because you have to know it yourself. So demanding someone to make you happy is very unfair for them, because are you able to restore yourself? So you take all of this that I said about like other people, and then you go, am I willing to do this for myself first? Because if you are in agreement with you and your source and yours and your divine, then it's going to be easier to pour into. And we didn't have the water, the dam dry out for like extremely long, but we also didn't know. So through this period of not knowing, know that nature will always replenish if you allow yourself to change certain habits. And sometimes it doesn't have to be for a long time. It can just be for a little while. Sometimes a little compromise goes a long way. Okay. If you once again want a personal reading, just comment or email me. I'll put my email down below and we can get you closer to restoration.